Let's face it, guys, retail's a chaotic world.
From those who work on the shop floor to the ropey customer trying to wangle a refund on a sweaty yet supposedly unworn pair of pants. We all have a story.
We chat to the sales assistants shackled to the cash desk, hoping and dreaming for that big break that will free them from the shop floor once and for all. And also to the incredible shop workers who love what they do but struggle to pay the rent or even dare to dream of getting on that elusive property ladder.
We're giving a platform to the shop owners who are transforming the retail landscape and the family businesses who continue to make retail work against all the odds.
Jasmine, are you ready for a deep dive into life on the shop floor?
Timothy, let's go.
Hello, everybody.
So, by some small miracle, we actually realised some people on TikTok wanted to listen to us.
We actually have some followers.
We have had some followers, we've had some love, and even some hate.
Equally some hate.
Which seems all part of the process.
What did someone say this week? I was talking about the struggles of getting into work and not being able to afford the tube fare. Someone said, well, at least you have your grandparents' inheritance to lean on.
And I think the worst bit was because you have never really been on the internet. You wrote back, yeah, can't wait for my grandma to kick it and I can sit on a pile of money. I was like, you can't say that. People will actually believe you then.
I know. I don't know. It's kind of funny engaging with haters, but I did take your advice.
You're going to get arrested. You'll get yourself arrested, Timothy.
It wouldn't be the first time.
So today we are talking about charity shops.
The charity shop sector.
We love them, we hate them.
I've always loved a charity shop.
Yeah.
What's the hate?
Well, I think people that work in them pretty much hate them.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are run by volunteers, so that's quite incredible.
I know. That's amazing. And I read online loads of I've been going on Reddit, guys, to find a bit of information, dig deep. And so many people think that when you volunteer, it's a different experience because you're all motivated by the fact you want to help, which I think is really nice. You make friends.
I mean, giving back, it's rewarding, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever given back?
My mum's always encouraging me to. I really should.
Everybody that I know that has said they volunteered, it's an amazing experience.
I know, but I think I'd rather volunteer with animals.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you an animal lover?
I'm a big fan of animals.
Oh, not dogs, though.
Yeah. What?
I shouldn't say I don't like dogs, should
You're
I?
Oh God,
I'm gonna get a lot more hate.
Smashing Beyonce.
Oh God, yeah. You have to be really careful with these subjects. Beyonce, dogs. There's a lot of love out there. Unfortunately, I don't feel the love either.
I have a few facts for you. The original charity shop was like charity bazaars back in the day, and
So bazaar's like the old name for a shop, because I remember that Marks and Spencer, that started in Leeds. It was a market stall in this really famous Leeds market, and it was called Marks and Spencer Bazaar.
Well, it is bizarre. Well, basically, the funniest thing I read online about this was these bazaars, people were accusing women of, let me get it right, insinuating and coaxing people with their ways.
Isn't that what retail is?
Yeah. I was like, I'm always coaxing people in.
I'm forever was it insinuating?
Yeah.
And coaxing.
So apparently it was unfair on men because, they couldn't coax sellers in and sell using their sex.
That's the patriarchy trying to put women
us
down. Yeah. Interesting. So women shouldn't be selling to the public or to men because that's a demonstration of their power.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think actually the best way to sell, if you can't sell yourself, how are you going to sell a product? That's
just pull down that neckline a little bit farther.
Pull down my uniform.
Hitch up that skirt.
And the earliest known fundraising shop, would you believe it? In Mayfair.
The oldest?
Yeah.
And is it still there?
No. Oh. What is it still there? Someone's probably knocked it down and turned it to a block of apartments now. It's to support the mission in East London. I love that. Mayfair thinking East London.
What's the mission?
Like a mission where you would help homeless people or, people that are disadvantaged.
I think that's the thing. Charity shops, obviously, their premise is to help and serve communities. But I think charity shops have transformed over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, my recollection of charity shops, my parents have always been massive charity shoppers. So when I was a kid, like every weekend being dragged from one charity shop to the other, I hated it. They all smelt. I don't know if anyone recalls charity shops in the 80s. You obviously don't. But they were just kind of grungy, smelly. I don't know, but served a purpose in communities. It was affordable clothing, like great books.
I imagine charity shops in the 80s as a real health hazard. I feel like if someone even tried to light a cigarette in that store, the polyester would go bang.
I think most of the assistants were smoking in the store in the 80s.
I'm surprised it didn't set on fire because you know now when you go into those vintage shops and they've
all
just
those
raided,
man-made fibres.
Yeah, I hate the feeling of those. You know when you go in and it's just like tent fabric. No.
It's like when you buy, accidentally, I bought polyester bedding. Never again. It was like a sauna.
Came out with
You know
a
when
few
you cover those outfits to lose weight, they're like foil lined and you get into them. That's what it was like.
few yeast infections, bacterial infections. Nice. So I love a charity shop, but I think that's my generation. It's shifted towards a way of sustainably shopping.
Yeah, definitely.
But also it's become really trendy to sort of wear. I know when I was younger, I started shopping charity shops when I was probably 15 or 16 because I didn't want to be wearing the same things as other people.
And do you think that's driven by social media, that this desire to look different? Because obviously, I think with social media, everything becomes so homogenized. Everybody's looking at the same product. And you see it, don't you? People all wearing the same styles or picking up on the same trends. So I think charity shops offer an opportunity, like you said.
To differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I found it was. Is I would know. God, now I think back on it, it was so pathetic. But I'd be like, well, I'm only going to have these trousers because it was the only one in the store. So no one's getting these.
Literally.
They might have, they probably looked awful, but I was.
I mean, I suppose my
them.
question then is, yeah, charity shops are great, but do you not find them incredibly expensive now?
So expensive because people have jumped on the bandwagon. And
like you, like the Gen Zs.
Like me, the worst gen, but
The
also
Gen
the
Z
resellers.
cohort.
Like, because my generation, I think, are always trying to find ways of making money in
Online.
the unconventional way
Very
and
clever.
online. And so
Multiple revenue streams.
Exactly, passive income.
That's the only reason we're doing this, quite frankly.
We're trying. But some of them are really good. And then they've sort of taken all the good stock out of the charity shops. And they've hiked up prices for the charity shops because they've suddenly clocked on of, oh, if they can sell this for £20 and we're selling it for £3, why would we do that?
I mean, certainly. I mean, I think you and I are both buyers and resellers, and I'm always looking for an opportunity to make more money. So if
quick buck.
Yeah, if I see something in a charity shop or if I see something online that's priced really low and I know I can make a profit, I will. So I'm always looking to monetize everything, where I suppose you're going into charity shops for the unique product.
Well, I'm also not as good as that because if I see something I love, I think, I'm like, why shouldn't I have that? So I'm not as good as that. But it's a shame because you go in now and like, my boyfriend went in the other day. This is a hilarious story. He rings me up and he's in a charity shop and he's going, is this a really bad thing to do? And I said, what have you done?
He's going to change the price on the ticket.
No, even worse. He said, I found this red jumper. It says it's £20.
Already expensive.
Which he's thinking expensive, but he really liked it. And
Cashmere?
So it was like an M&S jumper.
Okay.
And so he was like,
£20.
no way is this £20. So he obviously checked online because now you've got your phone in the charity shop. You can price compare.
Yeah.
And he sees it online for like £2. So what he does is he goes up to the cashier
and shows them
and goes, I just can't believe this is £20.
He's the
this
worst.
is for charity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? God forbid we would give more money to charity.
The worst kind of charity shopper.
Yeah. The bargain charity shopper.
I mean, that's the thing. I price compare now in charity shops, and it's ridiculous. You should be getting a bargain, particularly with books. There's an Oxfam in Notting Hill that I go to. Always has amazing books, but the prices are outrageous. Like I look on Amazon, think in the secondhand books, and think, can I get this cheaper? Invariably, I can. And I think this is the issue. I mean, what were you saying? What's driving up the prices of charity shops?
Well, with the reselling.
Reselling and also the actual charity shops clocking on to the fact that they can achieve a higher price online, which is therefore driving up the prices in store because you can't have different prices. It's just a standardized price point.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the whole point to charity shops, obviously to make money for charities, but it served communities that couldn't necessarily afford clothes on the high street.
Or access these things like books and have access to items that they can share within the community. Like one person buys it, gives it back to the local area.
And I think this is the problem. Although charity shops are diverting clothing and bric-a-brac from landfill, because now the prices have increased, they're actually driving people into fast fashion stores. So maybe kind of at one point would have shopped charity. Now, like you were saying about your boyfriend and the £20 M&S jumper, it's actually cheaper just to go into Primark
Yeah.
and buy brand new clothes that will fit. Yes, you might only get a few wears out of them, but I think there's a problem there.
So do I, because then also it prevents people who want to buy secondhand and are passionate about sustainable shopping. It forces them out of being able to do that. You know,
Yeah.
if it's going to be full of Depop girlies and resellers in charity shops, you're going to be alienated and you can't afford to shop there.
I think that's the other point, isn't it? I think charity shops now are competing with the likes of Vinted, with Depop, with eBay, and also now people who historically probably would have donated their clothing from their wardrobe to charity now monetize their wardrobe. They see an opportunity to make cash, so it's not being donated. So charity shops have an issue there with getting quality product through the door.
Yeah, because they just get the scraps of what people don't think they can sell themselves, and then it's even harder for the charity
So potentially
shop.
that's also driving up the prices, you know, because that's
Definitely.
going to reduce footfall, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, charity shops have transformed in the sense that they look so much better these days.
Oh my gosh, have you been in Trade in Dalston?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
I love that place.
Yeah.
It's like a proper store.
Really cool. And I think probably Mary Portas was kind of the kind of driving force behind that. I think about 10 years ago or something. She did a series and to try to reinvigorate charity shops to give them more of a kind of boutique feel.
Yeah.
But that's a huge cost for charities, you know, to trying
Yeah.
to overhaul these stores. And again, that's going to reflect in the price points.
And
you
the
know?
clientele, right?
And the
Like
cli-
you're
Yeah, you're alienating people again, you know, they give it a boutique look and it can be intimidating for people.
exactly. But also, I think what's really interesting about the charity sector is now I've found that there's a department store, charity shop department store.
Love this.
Insane. It's called charitysuper.mkt. Shout out to them, not sponsored. at all.
Charity.market then.
Yeah. But they do these huge pop-ups all around the UK and they bring all these charity stores together under one roof, and obviously they take up spaces like old top shops that have closed down, big
Wow,
retail
it's a lot of dead
spaces,
stock as well.
a lot of dead stock, and they go in and they
So multiple charities operating side by side in a department store
it's
kind
like
of
a
feel.
mecca for charity shopping.
Love that.
It's
You know what that
insane.
reminds me of? You know those kind of vintage by the pound sale that travel all
Yes,
over the country?
And also the like weighted sales, you know, when you go in and it's like,
Yeah, that's what I said, by the pound.
oh, I thought
Like
you
by
meant
weight.
I thought
Oh,
you
yeah,
meant
no,
by
what-
the pound coin. I was like, that seems
No, I'm
cheap.
showing my age now, by the kilo, not the
We're in
pound.
the metric system now, Tim.
So yeah, so they've obviously picked up on that model. So where was the first one?
First one was in Brent Cross, London.
Okay, cool.
They've got one coming in Glasgow, I believe.
Yeah.
Which should be really fun. They've done some in the north. They did one in Brighton, Bristol. So they go to big cities,
So
basically.
that's really trying to appeal to that younger customer,
And
isn't
it
it?
looks fab. Like I think the person who started it's like a designer or has his own design studio. So all the marketing's super well done. It's
So
not
are
just
they-
regular.
Are they editing then? There must be an edit of the clothing to make
Yes.
sure that
Oh,
it's...
yeah. Because it's almost like when we used to go to Topshop and they had all the little concessions. It looks exactly like that. You've got a bit like when you go into a department store and you've got the little sign above the rails and then there's little areas you can tell.
Mm.
And it's well curated, you can see. There's no baskets of random clothes.
Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. We should go.
I know.
Glasgow, though.
I know. A bit far for us.
Maybe
Can't
not.
afford that yet.
I think that's the thing. Charity shops, yes, you can have a new shop fit, but actually you need someone that can go in and edit, you know? Make sure that the product on offering's really strong, the prices are competitive. You know, often you go in and they're priced more than they were at full price.
I know.
That's going to put people off, isn't it?
Exactly. And also the people that choose charity shops to buy from because, you know, they have loads of kids or they need access to a lot cheaper clothing. It's like, now this is a really big issue that I find really frustrating, is that loads of girls in fashion are wearing like kids' clothes. You know, they're wearing like kids' t-shirts as a crop top.
Cropped, yeah.
And I understand the style of that, the baby tee, but I also think that it's really an issue if you have a load of children and you want to dress them and you can't find any clothes for them.
Well,
You know, you can only find trousers for them.
well, off you go to Primark.
Exactly. So you're
Therein
pushed
lies
out.
the problem.
Yeah. And so you miss out on that quality that you would get in the charity shop because it might be donated from another store.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, you know, that like charity shops, like my parents, they were serving a purpose. I'm one of 5. You know, imagine
Yeah.
trying to clothe 5 kids. And it was the day before it was the time before people were monetizing their wardrobes. You would get in, you get amazing finds, so much cheaper. You know, and it's just, unfortunately, charity shops, I'm not sure, catering to people that need cheaper clothing anymore.
I think they sometimes forget their audience. But also, you think about like at school when you have fancy dress days and things
Yeah.
like that. That was the first
School
place
uniform.
you'd go. Yeah.
Like kids outgrowing school uniform.
So expensive
once
school
a term.
uniform. Yeah. You could just go into charity shop, find a little skirt, off you go.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is in terms of the pricing, I read that charity shops in this country get 80% business rates relief. And then they can also apply to their local council to get business relief on the remaining 20%. So what we're having happen, and I think we see that a lot in regional towns and cities, is so many charity shops on the high street. So the high street's no longer diversified. They're just charity shop after charity shop. When really, I think the government and local councils need to be looking at how to offer business rates to other independent retailers to help to re-diversify the high street.
Definitely. And have independent people coming in and offering other options
Yeah.
instead. But I have actually got some information about things that have been found in bookshops.
In a bookshop? Charity bookshop?
Charity bookshop, yeah, of course.
Okay.
This one's so
The Joy
good.
of Sex?
Your favourite book. The Oxfam Bookshop in Herne Hill. Guess which book came into their possession?
It was a first print.
First edition.
Harry Potter.
No.
The Bible.
The first print, what? Handwritten by God himself.
No, tell me.
James Bond. First edition of James Bond.
First edition, that's it.
They couldn't trace the donor, okay?
They would be beating themselves
They
up
would be going.
once they read about this in the Daily Mail.
It was Casino Royale, and they went to sell it for £12,000.
At auction.
Yeah. And
Smart.
I'm pretty sure that what I read was the donor did come forward after seeing that, thinking, that was my holiday.
And they were like,
gone.
that's £12,000, please.
Yeah. And no, they were more than happy that it went to charity.
But I think that is rare now because, like we were saying, charity shops are checking the prices. They know that if something's particularly valuable, they're putting it on their own website or they're sending it to auction. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know,
No.
obviously it's great for the charity sector, but for the bargain hunter, the person going in, those opportunities to find, people would go to charity
Red,
shops looking.
and then they would find that, and
Yeah.
themselves they
I'm
would
like,
make
I got a
that
steal. I got this for £1, you know? I
Made
think
12 grand.
made 12 grand. I think those days are long gone.
No, I see those people on TikTok. I watch these videos of this woman. I can't remember her name, but she found the most incredible plate that was painted by Picasso. She literally got it at a market for £5.
By Picasso.
Yes, I swear to God, it was painted. It was like this really rare plate. And there are people on TikTok doing that. They go to these places specifically to look for things. And she just sort of saw the plate, thought it looked nice, found out it was one of like the rarest plates ever.
So there are still opportunities
There are
to,
very
to
limited,
grab a
though.
bargain.
A lot limited because because with the internet, people are able to research. Like if you're working in a charity shop pre-internet, if a first edition Casino Royale came in, you'd go, this book's seen better days.
Yeah, and you would know it was a first edition, but you wouldn't necessarily know its value.
No.
You know, that's the point.
And you probably wouldn't look nowhere to look to find the right buyer, because now with the internet you have access to like the whole world to buy it from
at your fingertips.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a really good one. Another great one was the British Heart Foundation found a rare Beatles record, Love Me Do vinyl, one of only 250 made, and it was listed at £1,060 and went for 9,400.
Wow.
What a steal.
Wow.
How good's that for them?
Yeah, I think so. There are still opportunities. We just need to go straight to a charity shop after this.
Yeah, you do.
Rifle through those rails. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It was a record, was it?
Yeah. Those are the rare things, really.
Yeah, and vinyl's had a massive resurgence now. So, I mean, Oxfam used to have music stores that were just records, I think, all over the country. So they had Oxfam bookstores, Oxfam music stores. So, I mean, I think people are definitely going in looking for vinyl, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's the best thing you found in a charity shop?
I've had finds in the past. I think the last thing I bought was like to resell. It was a vintage Moschino, you know, the classic with the gold lettering.
Yeah.
I think it was a £5 and probably sold it for like 50, 60 quid. So that's quite a good
Really?
markup. Yeah. But it's in an affluent area. And I think that's the thing. If you go to more affluent areas, you get really great product.
But people, that's the problem though. People go to different areas to find stuff now. When I go home or if I go anywhere else in the UK, there's much better stuff in the charity shops because the locals haven't caught on to some of that yet.
Yeah.
In the same
and
way,
also the trends, you know, like a few years ago, like Murano Glass, an Italian glass company, had a real resurgence, was big in the 70s. And like you'd go into a charity shop in London, like 50 or 100 quid. I'd go home to my parents in Yorkshire. You could pick them up for like a £5.
I know.
Like trends take time to kind of spread out, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So what have you found?
I have this amazing pair of shoes. I remember finding them. And I'm very bad because if I like something, even if it's a size smaller, I will wedge my foot in there like there's no tomorrow.
I've seen your feet. I can tell that that's what you do.
And I found this shoe and it's molded. It's like a plastic shoe, a bit like something you'd put on a Polly Pocket or a Barbie, you know, like the little like
made of plastic.
Yeah, it literally looks like it came out of a mold.
Okay.
And it's brown, and then it has like a soft insole. It's Italian, and then it's like a wedge, but it has a big circle in the heel.
Sounds hideous. Okay, no. Okay.
I call it my donut shoe, but it's got
Your
like a
feet
huge
sweating
circle.
in it.
I mean, I'm wearing it outside, taking them off. I'm not wearing them for long, but it's got this little circle in the back heel. And I remember finding it and thinking, yeah, get in. It probably wasn't cheap. It was like 20 quid for a charity shop. I was like, okay, fine, £25. And
then did you look online and find out its true worth?
Yeah, I can't remember what the worth was, but I remember finding like very few online. It was by some Italian guy who made sort of molded shoes.
Interesting.
I should have brought them in.
Yeah, a bit like Patrick Cox, those kind of rubberized shoes.
Definitely, yeah, just like that. I mean, it was all one block.
Yeah,
of material.
made from one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
That's my favourite find.
Well done. No, I mean, it's good if you buy something and love it and keep it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, invariably, I get to the point where either I'm bored of it or I need some money, you know, and I raid my wardrobe and think, how can I make some money? You've been doing that this week, though, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been doing loads of vintage selling.
So your parents leaving the family home, selling
hoping
up.
to leave, sell up. The problem is, though, with me is loads of my stuff. When I go to a charity shop, like I'll see some plastic tat on the shelf, like a plastic cat that I could put somewhere, and I go, that will bring me joy.
Really?
Yeah,
I hate bric-a-brac.
I love things that serve no purpose.
I used to. I went through that period. Now I don't like stuff. I don't like to have too many possessions.
Oh, you're so holy.
Anything that can gather dust, it's a no from me.
What have you done?
That's why I'm single.
What about that haircut?
Have you heard about wabi-sabi? So in Japan, this is the thing about observing the beauty in imperfection. So like in this country, we break something, it goes straight to landfill, or we try and palm it off to a charity shop. In Japan, wabi-sabi, so say you kind of cracked a plate.
Oh, I know this.
They would put the plate back together, and where the crack was, they would infill it with gold. You know, they see the beauty in the imperfection, the story that can tell. And I think that's amazing.
It's a shame you don't see the beauty in perfection.
I know.
That's why you're at the surgeon all the time.
I've had nothing done, Jasmine. I'm a natural beauty.
Shame they can't fill your cracks with gold.
I've tried. Trust me.
Another thing related, the car boot. I did one the other day.
The
People
one in
are...
Stoke Newington?
No, I did it Battersea.
Yeah.
Battersea car park. And
Okay, that's affluent area.
yeah, you would think so.
Were people trying to get a better price? Were they haggling?
Oh, people didn't want to pay over £1 for anything. I was like, inside my soul was being destroyed because I was looking at a t-shirt thinking, I was a muppet and paid 20 quid for this and you want it for 50p.
The problem is if I've ever done a car boot, you know, during the selling, I'm falling back in love with the product I'm trying to get rid of. I'm just going to put that back in.
No, this happened to me, okay? I no word of a lie. This girl comes around with her mum. I've got this lovely like satin dress that's all plaid. And she's like holding it up to herself, trying it on. I was like, oh God, I love her shoes. And I was like, oh God, that dress looks so good with those shoes.
It looks a bit too good on her. I'm going to tell her it's sold.
I was like, oh my
Say,
God.
I'm sorry, that's actually sold.
Even worse. You know what I did? So her mum was like, I love it. She wasn't so sure. I was watching her thinking, I freaking love this dress now. Now I've seen her style it. Thanks for the free style advice. They went around the thing to come back and
what, they were like, we're going to think about it for 5 minutes.
They didn't need to think about it. I thought about it and
Sold.
I put it right back in the car. I literally threw it in, put it under the front seat, and my boyfriend's like, oh, you've left something. We forgot to put this out. I was like, no. Keep it down there. We are not selling this. And she comes back and she's like, oh my gosh, oh, it must have sold. Oh no. And I went, I'm so sorry.
You win some, you lose some.
Cut to me, my Instagram, in the dress. Who doesn't find me?